Got my coffee, did my homework. I'm ready for the prep. Let's do this. And as always, we're going to be looking for accurate context, good risk management, and always exercising good patience.
Everybody who's traded has gone through periods of time where their strategy hasn't worked.
Where if not a hard stop, you should reevaluate the trades you're in based on time.
That's what we're here for, is to put ourselves in the best success. A trading routine does that, builds that habit, lets you know what to work on, what to reflect on, and what to improve on the next day.
Good morning, my futures family. It is time for the market prep. Good morning. Wednesday, April the 26th. My name is John Hoagland. As always, thanks for trusting me with your time, where focus is always on accurate context, good risk management, and remaining patient. So we had some economic numbers come out this morning, very early this morning. The 30-year mortgage rate is a little bit higher than it was last week. 6.43 last week, 6.55 this week. Durable goods orders came out. They rose in March, but they fell if you take out, I should say, airplanes and defense. The trade deficit in goods narrowed in March. That's a good thing. We did have retail and wholesale inventories come out. We're waiting for the 9:30 EIA petroleum status report. Yesterday, kind of a surprise 6 million barrel draw announced by the API. The EIA is looking for a draw of only 1.5 million barrels. So we've got our equities. Looks like they're going to hold up and maybe open a little bit higher this morning. Not surprising after Google and Microsoft boost that they give the market a boost yesterday after the close. It seemed like they were having a little bit of trouble holding that rally, looking a little bit better now after the economic numbers this morning. Today's earnings focus, of course, will be on Meta or Facebook after the close. Reading in the news this morning, apparently another California bank is in a little bit of trouble after depositors have withdrawn $100 billion in their assets in March and will apparently not be getting any more help from Wall Street banks. Crude prices get no help from the 6 million barrel draw by the EIA, by the API. Well, we'll have to see what happens on the EIA next. About almost 1% lower this morning, down 63 cents at 76.44 currently. The VIX this morning, taking a quick look a few minutes ago, up slightly at 1894. Yesterday at this time, it was 1755. The dollar index not really moving all that much since yesterday at this time is 101.4 this morning, 101.5 yesterday at this time. And the yield on the 10-year largely stable here, 3.4%, 3.43% yesterday. As always, make sure you hit the lucky like button, share, comment, question, feedback, heckling, and love are always welcome. And make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can get notified when we do go live. Today is Wednesday. We will be having group coaching at 12:30. We will be doing Make Hoag Money, a little bit of an abbreviated session because at 3 o'clock we have Jared Tendler speaking. Here is the link for the group coaching. That's the first link in the chat. The second link is for Jared Tendler. He's going to be with us for an hour. He is the author of The Mental Game of Trading. If you haven't heard of the book or seen the book or read the book, I highly suggest it. It's an excellent book that gives a lot of action items to help you figure out what you can do better. That's really what the whole game is about. Every day, try and be a little bit better than you were the previous day. So that'll be at 3 o'clock today. Always a pleasure to see Jared. Always very interested in what he has to say, and you'll be able to ask questions. Ask the questions. So, good morning, Shaw. First in the room. Happy hump day. Alejandro, Tim, Goodwill RL, wishing us good fortune today. Too humble, Greg. I will take a look at the end of the recap here and see if we can't do a little bit of a review of what you're asking here this morning. We have a little bit of extra time because we don't have Make Hogue Money right after the prep this morning, so we'll take a look at that. Please, if you think about it, remind me as we get closer to the end of the prep here. Haggle Matters, good morning. Good morning, my brother Rick. Love you, buddy. Julian, Brian, Terry King, the Rooster, John, Ron Merlot is with us. Good morning, Ron Merlot. John, Phil, Sarah Hall, prayers and love as always. Stephen, Vince, good to see you. Les, Bill, and Nisa, good to see you. Stephen, George Duque, good morning. Andy Bleed, Scott Saw, Andy Conquered, Pete, Shy, Jason, Willie G, now funded in 2 express accounts with one combine in the works. Love the new multiple account feature. Thank you, Willie. I'm glad you're doing well, and we are, of course, looking forward to your continued success. Let us know how things go. German, good morning. Jason, dude, that's all right, dude, you're not late. George, good morning. Lacey is doing what the center of the universe should be doing it a few minutes before 8 o'clock on a Wednesday. She is napping. Travis, good morning. Goodwill R. Willie G is a Goodwill RL is asking you a question. Did you choose to do the same size or different size accounts? Good morning, Joe. Of course, context first. Good morning, JT and Bluebell. Good to see you. NASDAQ and Horse Trader, Marcelo. As always, it's great to see everybody. As always, thanks for joining me. As always, thanks for hitting the lucky like button. And we're going to get into the context here very shortly. Make Hogue Money yesterday. We had a pretty good trade, and I was thinking that there was going to be a lot more to the downside. I was thinking that the market was going to grow some legs as soon as we broke out down below a couple of important areas. We'll take a look at that on the charts this morning. How good of a job did the market do? We'll take a look at that as well. But thank you all for your thoughts and voting, and we had a pretty decent trade. We sold it near the high. We added to it on the way down. We took a little bit of a profit on one. We got our profit target on the other one. All in all, a successful day for Make Hogue Money. Looking forward to seeing what we can find this afternoon. It seems like there's 2 different markets. There's the market in the morning, and there's the market in the afternoon. So we'll see what happens. Okay, howdy, Paul. JT, you can see that I believe that the multiple accounts are on the website now. Fish around, see if you can find out. But yeah, you can have up to 3 accounts at once in the Express Funded account. So, you'll be able to work different strategies in different accounts. And hopefully that's going to get you even more stacked for when you get picked to go to a funded account. All right. Okay, let's start here on the charts now. I'm always excited when we have Jared here. It's always a pleasure. Okay, let's take a look. Starting with the daily in the S&Ps. All right, did much change yesterday? Yeah, I would say. We left the upper area of balance here, moved into the lower area of balance, got relatively close to a couple, well, at least one important inflection level in the weekly kickoff low here. 40.78. Haven't gotten there yet. We're getting pretty close in the overnight today, but we keep rejecting, which is something that I kind of expect. And when we get close to these important inflection levels, what kind of volume did we have yesterday? Volume was pretty good in futures. It was a little higher on the New York Stock Exchange as well, something that we would expect on a big down day. What about open interest? We added approximately 3,300 in open interest. That feels a little bit hollow to me. On a breakout of balance, I'm looking for more of a well, I would say buy-in, more of a sell-in for new sellers to come into this market. And I was kind of unimpressed when I saw that this morning on the bulletin that we only added 3,300 in open interest. Now, it can be wrong, but it feels a little bit inert to me. So now last night we took a look closer to a level of extreme for the downside. We were just seeing the bottoms of these shadows. Excess, the market has been rejected down below there yesterday, rejecting there so far today. We are, we did close on our patoot yesterday, and yes, that is an industry term. We actually left a late spike, which gives us a little bit of reference for the open this morning. We're going to see that here in a second. Here's the 30-minute chart. So when we ended up with that short, a lot of what we were looking at was the fact that right up here, the market was holding below VWAP. It's a level that my brother uses quite a bit, and it works really well when it works, right, Rick? So we were holding VWAP here. We held a short. We, got close to getting stopped out on it. We didn't. The opening range was initially the low of the session. We added to the position when we broke below the opening range. We took a small profit on the first one. I think we went down to 41.20 for our profit target. I was looking more towards 41.10, this naked point of control here for our profit target, but we shortened it up a little bit just because, well, I don't know why. Some folks were saying, just take it now, but we stayed in the trade. We made a little bit extra money on that opportunity. So it was a good trade overall. Today, here's the late spike. We closed at 40.93.25, right on our patoot. Again, that is an industry term. So we're looking at the base of the late spike for some sort of reference. The rule around the late spike, and we'll take a look at the TPO chart when we do this. So the base of the late spike is where the extension at the end of the day happened. What's a late spike? A late spike is when price leaves an area of balance at the end of the day and price doesn't have time to accept below that level or in that level. So we look to the next morning for where the open is. Now, we're going to be opening, if we were to open now, we'd be opening above the base of the late spike, which is by number 40.9675. So it looks as though this market is rejecting this late move to the downside, this late spike, rejecting those prices, indicating we could probably continue the move to the upside. Well, if we do continue the move to the upside, being a double distribution trend day yesterday, if we were to open, say, between the distributions of time and volume, that would indicate a potential repair day, which we might trade to the point of control of this distribution and to a point of control of this distribution. One side's probably going to get checked for sure today. So the base of the late spike, again, 40.9675. The start of the late spike happens to be the point of control for the entire session yesterday, and that is 41.0350, 03 half. So anything we do down here is pivotal. If we reject the late spike, we go higher. If we accept price in or below the late spike, we'll probably go lower. Of course, nothing is finite. Nothing happens every time. Nothing happens exactly the same way every time. And as always, ACH, anything can happen. Excuse me. My goodness. All right, let's take a look at crude oil now. So yesterday, on decent volume, we traded from high to low in the area of balance. Did it bring a whole bunch of business? No, it didn't. We lost open interest. Is this a B-shaped profile? I bet it's going to be. We're still working to close this gap here. Volume was pretty decent. And, we're testing the lower extreme of balance as we speak. Coming into the open, here's the 30-minute. So we just opened. We're in the opening range. So here's overnight inventory a little bit to the short side. We've instantly closed any gap. So no gap rules here. I'm just watching to see what happens here. So the low of the opening range is 76.33. The high 76.60, 62. We got a 30-point opening range. We start to show, because we did open outside of range and value. If we start to show acceptance inside of value, that's the value area special situation play, which indicates if we open outside of range and value and we reaccept inside the previous day of area of value, there's a good probability that price will reach the other extreme of the area of values at some point during that session. So far, no sign of acceptance inside of value. We're still holding our opening range at the low of the day, and we have just checked down to recheck this point of control, which happened to be exact to the low from yesterday. Here's the TPO chart. So B-shaped profile, long liquidation, supported by the loss in open interest. So the move to the downside here yesterday wasn't new business, wasn't new sellers, it was old buyers getting out. So it's a little bit hollow. It doesn't represent a healthy breakout, if you will. NASDAQ. So the NASDAQ had a much deeper downside look and a much bigger pullback after the earnings came out. We tested below a weekly kickoff low yesterday. We still haven't been anywhere near it in the S&Ps. What do we do as far as open interest? Well, it's a little bit different. We added open interest on higher volume on a down day. Maybe we got some sellers excuse me. Maybe we got some sellers trapped here. What did the 30-minute look like? So I would say, by looking at the direction yesterday, that the open interest increase in the NASDAQ was new shorts. We got some shorts trapped here. This was the market after the close when the earnings came out. Better than halfway back. Here's where we opened last night. Here's where we are now. No overnight inventory. The market in range and in value. Potential repair. Looking at this a few minutes ago, I would have said, well, a little while ago, I would have said, yeah, maybe we've got some overnight shorts here, but those are certainly reconciled. It's taken us right back to settlement, pretty close to where the overnight session started. No real overnight inventory. Well, what's the TPO chart look like? Maybe we'll get a little bit of help here. So here's where we're looking at opening the S&Ps down in this distribution. Here's where the NASDAQ is now in the upper distribution. Getting a much deeper pullback. We did have a late spike in the NASDAQ, but this market is obviously, for the time being, rejecting price at lower levels. Even the low of the day doesn't even come down there. So we either kind of go into repair or reject value from yesterday to look at prices higher to maybe clean up some of the action yesterday. Am I expecting a big day today? No, I'm not. All the information, all the economic information is out. We'll have no help from talking Feds. We're going to be waiting for the preliminary GDP numbers tomorrow. I was kind of surprised how deep things got yesterday. But all the information is out there. And if there's no bad news, well, these equities tend to just kind of grind to the upside, right? That's a good question, Hagel. Okay, settlements all the way down here. This occurred yesterday. We were probably pretty short. We had a lot of short covering in short time frame to cover yesterday. What I'm looking at for the overnight inventory isn't settlement. It's where did the overnight start? The overnight started here, not here. So the overnight started here, maybe got a little bit long, maybe ended up a little bit short. The fact that we're right where it started indicates to me that I don't see much as far as overnight inventory is concerned. So sometimes, the market's going to open relatively close to settlement and move away. Settlement is a good marker. But when we open away from settlement in the overnight session, the way we did last night, this is where I'm basing my overnight inventory from, not from settlement. Great question. Great question, Michael. All right, gold. Well, all right. 1 second. All right. Well, where are we? Balance. Balance. So, volume was pretty good yesterday. After another relatively close test of weekly kickoff low, the market just won't get close enough to get me in 2 days in a row now. So volume was pretty good. We lost open interest. We got a little too short in the hole here, probably relatively early, so we lost a little bit of open interest. But by and large, we're pretty range bound here. Open interest losing 1,500. Any rally yesterday should be viewed as relatively hollow. Are we forming a head and shoulders? Yes, quite possibly. Are we forming a bear flag here? Possibly. Take a look at the 30. So volume, it was actually good yesterday. I would be looking for lower volume on a pullback, just a kind of a casual higher highs, higher lows, value moving higher on lower volume and reducing open interest would be what I would be looking for a bear flag. Well, we've got some space around us here. Overnight inventory? No, not really. I mean, here's where the market opened. Where was it? Right here. We're right here. We've done a lot to even inventory just by the range-bound activity from last night. Excess up here on the high during the post-regular trading hours session on kind of low volume. I'm gonna really kind of back off on this a little bit. I've been trying to get it bought down here, and I've been unable to do so. Well, sometimes that tells us something when the market doesn't let you in. That's saying something, right? What doesn't happen is important as what does. I'm going to really wait and try and focus on, see if we get another point of contact up against this trend line. We don't really have a gap. Take a look at the TPO chart, see if there's any help there. So almost a late spike at the high here yesterday. Almost. We've opened in that area, and we seem to be rejecting value and range from yesterday. So I'm going to back off. I'm going to wait and see if we get an opportunity up near that trend line. And that'll allow me to limit my risk. I've been unable, again, to get filled down here against that weekly kickoff low. It just hasn't come deep enough into the zone for me. So I've missed a couple of good opportunities, but that's all right. I know that I'll find something here in time. Normal variation day yesterday. Neutral as far as stance is concerned. Late spike here yesterday. Another potential late spike. The base of it is down here. There's an anomaly that's the point of control here from yesterday. That's a little bit unnerving for longs. So I'm going to be looking for opportunities to buy weakness or staying patient up till we get up against this trend line again before looking for anything for shorts. You know, we got a kind of relatively weak overnight high. I'm not really digging that for an opportunity. So I'm going to chill. I'm going to take a chill. Here's the euro. What a market this is. Finally, we get one close below that trend line, and it fails to attract new business. We lost open interest yesterday. So that indicates that this pullback may be a little bit hollow. Volume was good. Volume always seems good on down days, right? Everybody wants to pile in, but we actually ended up piling out yesterday with the loss in open interest. Weekly kickoff high is in play today. Here's our pullback B-shaped profile indicating a loss. It is a double distribution trend day. We'll see that in the charts here shortly, and we're opening outside of a double distribution trend day against above an important inflection level where the pullback from it lost open interest. I'm going to see if we get an opportunity here near this weekly kickoff high level for an execution. There's likely to be fish here. Take a look at the TPO chart. I mean, we've got a lot of longs in this market, but those longs, sometimes buying begets more buying. It's pushing the market to a level that may cause longer time frame traders to adjust inventories, getting out of shorts or getting into longs. Here's that double distribution B-shaped profile yesterday. I mean, it's a perfect long liquidation. 3,400 loss in open interest. The market pushes lower, IB high. It consolidates at the low, and then look where we are. It rejects. So this may be an interesting opportunity for a bigger chance here in the euro. One more thing here. When I see these things happen, we got a convergence between the trend line and a weekly kickoff level. When they converge on that day, if price is near there, I see sometimes some pretty big opportunities. I'm not suggesting it's going to be today. With everything else and the uncertainties we've got, I'm not sure what to think, but it is possible when we see these convergence and price moves through those on those days. They can be some pretty big opportunities. Here's the 10-year. Low to high, test to weekly kickoff high. Volume was good yesterday, but again, we lost open interest, which makes this little rally that we've got feel a little bit hollow. I want to see new business coming in, not getting out of old business, especially up against a longer time frame inflection level. There's probably some fish here. When it's going to happen, I don't know, because look at what it did last night. So here's our move. Boom, boom, boom last night. And even still, just magnetic to weekly kickoff high. I hate it when this happens. It does have a tendency sometimes to happen. It's an important level. It's a decision-making level. If longer time frame traders take their time making decisions here, that's when this happens. The market just kind of rotates back and forth over and above before it gets to find some legs to move away from this area. What about that TPO chart yesterday? Normal variation, low excess high, weak low. Our overnight, it was basically in range with that. So be patient. Be patient. I wonder if there's anything going on here in natural gas. So it almost reminds me of the S&Ps because we've got kind of overlapping balances. The overlapping balance, the upper balance of it in the S&Ps broke to the downside yesterday, putting us into the lower area of balance. But overall, this is very centrally located inside this area of balance. If I were going to be trading the natural gas, I would really be cautious in this current area. I mean, the weekly, last week's low is interesting, if only because I can limit risk. But I'd be more patient looking for opportunities. outside on the extremes here. Yesterday, excess low, low excess high, weak high above that, normal variation, extreme day, gapping to the downside. You don't want to fight the gap. There are still naked points of control down below, visuals for the market to target without attracting longer time frame business. And don't forget, this market is in rollover. One other thing I wanted to mention, popped in my head here about the 10-year. Don't forget, we have an island bottom here. We have an island low. We start accepting above that trend line. Rates really going to go that much lower? Well, anything can happen. ACH. So, okay. So, too humble. Greg, S&Ps. So, talk about the A period at the open failing to close over the halfback of the overnight session. Here's the halfback of the overnight session. Right to it. Failed to close above it, of course. I think we had our stop around 5/4 for our short. Now, there were a couple of things that lined up there. If I add VWAP bands, here's what we were looking at in Make Hogue Money. Lower highs, lower lows. The gold line here, I'm going to make it really big. The gold line here was VWAP. The market was largely holding below it. Now, we left the opening range at the high of at the low of the session, initially in A period, right? So when we were kind of up here, now the VWAP is in more of a precarious position because we've moved price lower. Before that, I think VWAP was up around 42 to 42 and a half when we started thinking about taking this short, because price was up there, VWAP was up there. It's been holding below VWAP. We looked at our stop above this level. We got in. I don't remember if I really noticed that we were at the overnight half back level, but this was our shot here. We actually got a fill. We added to it when we broke below the opening range. We took one of them off at 8 points. We took the other one off down here at 41.20, because that was what we agreed on during Make Hogue Money. All right. People overseas countries acceptable for an account with TopStep? Do they have to? Do they have access to trades the same instruments that we do, namely ES futures? Snowflake, I think there's like over 160 something countries that we've actually funded people from. So, if you're from France or Spain or something like that, of course, no problem. Yes, but there are certain countries that are, listed on the exchange as no go. Yes. All right. All righty. Well, I hope that this was helpful, something you can bring forward through your trading day. They're always interesting trading days. They're always challenging. It's what I love. What I do. Sometimes it is painfully aggravating, but it can also be just exhilarating. There's a lot of high highs, some pretty low lows, but I've found over the years that I've forgotten most of the lows, and I hold on to most of the highs. Hopefully this is going to be similar to your experience. Of course, we're all looking forward to your success, and part of your success can be helped today by coming to group coaching and definitely coming to see Jared Tendler. Again, I'll put the link in. There is the link for the Zoom webinar with Jared Tendler, author of The Mental Game of Trading. We'll see you there. Let's take our deep breath. Stay humble, grateful, creative, and centered in your trading today. Looking forward to seeing everybody at the group coaching, Make Hogue Money, and Jared Tendler event. If not, trade well, man. Have a great day. Hope you make a bunch and go do something fun. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to others. Pray for peace, please. And we'll see you later on. Have a great day.